Hey guys, in this video we are going to create a magazine type web page. So let's take a look at what we are going to make. Okay, so we are going to create this web page. It's got a header. The header consists of three parts. It's got a top bar with a trending news section. It's kind of a carousel. If you click here, the news items will scroll. It's got a main header area with the logo and an advertising banner and the main navigation. Then we have a hero section with some movies. It's got a nice hover effect. Then we have a few post blocks like this latest reviews. Then we have a post block for latest trailers. We also have a sidebar to display side widgets. If you click on the latest trailer, then the video will pop up in a light box. Then we have this Blu-ray section. You can add them to cart. It also has a nice hover effect. Then we have a newsletter subscription form, and then we have the footer area. Okay, so this is what we are going to create. I hope you'll enjoy it and learn a lot. So let's get started. Okay, first let's create a folder on our desktop. I'll just call this movie mag. Okay, so let's open this folder with a code editor. I'm going to use Visual Studio Code. Okay, so this is completely empty. We are going to need a new folder here called Assets. And we'll need a new file here, index.html. Let's create an HTML document. Let's just change it to movie mag. Okay, here I have the final version, and in the assets folder we have a folder for images. So I'm just going to copy this image and just paste it inside here. I will leave a link to the entire project, so you can also download the image files and you can follow along. Okay, in the image folder we have all the images that we will need for this project. So here we are. In the assets folder we will need a new folder called CSS and another folder called JS. We are going to use Bootstrap, so let's download the Bootstrap files. And from here we'll just need the bootstrap.min.css. So I just copy it, and inside the CSS file, before I paste the Bootstrap CSS, I just create a new folder called partials, and I'll paste the Bootstrap CSS file here. Okay, I'll just explain it in a bit why I want to do this this way. And also I'm going to need the Bootstrap JavaScript file. So I'll just copy this one, and in the assets folder I go to the JS folder and just paste it in here. Okay, so back to the editor. we have the Bootstrap file here, the CSS files here. Inside the CSS main folder, we'll create a new file called styles.css. And basically, we are going to use different CSS files for the different parts of the page. You don't have to do this. You can use just one CSS file. I just do this because later, if we have to go back and check the code, for me it's easier to just only look through a few code that's specific to that part of the page. It really doesn't matter. Okay, so in the index.html file, we need to link this style.css, assets, CSS, and style.css. Okay, and here we need one more. We need to link the font awesome icons CSS. We can do this by using the font awesome CDN. So you have to go to this page and click the CSS tab, and basically we need this here, and here we just link it like the style.css file. Now let's add the JavaScript files in the bottom. We need jQuery, so go to jQuery.com, click download jQuery, and here we just need to right click and save link as, and just save it to assets.js. And if you go back, okay, first we need to add the jQuery and then the Bootstrap JavaScript file. Otherwise, we'll have some problem. Okay, and we can create one more, and we'll just call this custom.js. Of course, we have to create this file. Just in case we'll need it. Okay, so now we need to go to the style.css file, and we need to import the Bootstrap CSS. We can do that by using the CSS import rules. Okay, and basically this is what we are going to do when we create a new section on the website. We'll create a new CSS file and we'll just import it into the main style.css. Of course, here we can use some global styles. Let's just define our main accent color in a CSS variable. We'll just add some default stuff to the body. Font color. Okay, we'll do the rest later. Okay, so now we have the main structures and the main files. So now we are ready to start with the page. Okay, so if we look at the finished version of the page, we see that in the header, first we have this top bar section. So we need to do this first. It has two parts. It has this scrolling news bar, and it has the social media icons. Obviously, the most complicated part is the scrolling bar. For this, we are going to use a jQuery carousel plugin. So we need to go to Google and look for OWL carousel, and we need to go to the first result, and we need to download the plugin. Okay, first we need two CSS files from this carousel. We need to go to the dist folder assets, and first we need this one, carousel.min.css. So click copy, and let's go to our folder CSS partials and just paste the file here. And we also need another one, and this is the our theme default.min.css. So copy this one too. Let's go back to our folder and paste it in. We also need a JavaScript file. We can use the minimized version. So just copy, and let's go back to our folder assets.js and just paste it here. Okay, so now we need to include them in our document. So we can just go to style.css, and here just copy this one and just select the CSS files, and we need the second one. Let's save it. And we also need to include the JavaScript file. Let's save it. Okay, and now we are ready to go. First, let's create a main wrapper div. This will hold our entire page. Inside the wrapper, let's create a header. Obviously, this is going to hold our header code. And first, let's create the top bar. So these are just basic Bootstrap classes, and inside this row we need two columns. One column for the news scroller and the other column for the social media icons. So let's create a column and another one. Okay, in this column let's add some more classes. Okay, since we use the large prefix here, we also need to add it here. And if we use 9 here we need to use 3. First, let's focus on this column. Now we need to add the carousel. So we need to use some classes that are provided by the carousel plugin. If you go to the documentations, you can have a lot of information about it, how to install it, and how to use the plugin. Okay, so let's go back here and let's create the basic HTML structure. So first, this is the basic structure of the carousel, and this all stage div will hold the individual carousel or news items. So let's add them. Okay, here just let's add some lorem ipsum text. We don't need. Okay, let's copy this line a few times. Maybe just add some numbers. And here we need to add the carousel navigation. And it's basically just going to be a font awesome icon. Let's make a copy because we have two navigation, one for the previous and one for the next. So I'll just replace it with next, and this one with right. And maybe here I'll just add a comment and breaking news. And if we just open it in a browser, it's there. Obviously we need to style this, but here we need to add a heading as well, and it's just going to be and let's call it trending. Let's save it, and now we can start styling this. Okay, so first let's go to the partials folder, create a new file. Let's call this header.css, and we have to go to the styles and import it. So in header, first let's style the top bar. Let's add the background color F2, F2, F2. Let's add the border bottom 1 pixel solid E2, E0, E0. And let's add the padding top 7 pixel. Let's save it and let's see if everything works. Yes, the styles are connected properly. Okay, so let's continue. We have a breaking title. It's got a background. Here we can use our variable. Padding 5 pixel, 15 pixel, the bottom 0 pixel, and the left 15 pixel. And margin right 15 pixel, and margin bottom 10 pixel. And we also need to add position relative. Okay, let's save it. So if we check the final project, we can see that there is this little thing on the bottom, on the left bottom of this part. That's why we have to use position relative here, because we'll use the after pseudo element. But before we go on with the styling, we need to add some code to our custom.js file. Because if you come here, you can click these navigation icons, nothing will happen, and it's not really working. That's because we also need to add some JavaScript files in order to get this carousel work. So if you go to the installation instructions, you can see that there is an initializer function that we need to add to our document. So let's just copy this and go to the custom.js file and paste it here. And now you can see that something happened. We also need to add some more JavaScript code. So if we go back here and we go to the API events part, we are going to need this code. So just copy this and go back to our custom.js file and just add this here. So we need this because we need to activate the navigation. So we need to activate these navigation buttons, and we can do that by replacing these classes. So if you go back here, we can see that for the previous navigation we used this class. So just copy this one and paste it here, and we need the next, and we just need to paste it here. Okay, let's save it and let's refresh, and you can see that it's now starting to scroll. We need to do some more styling, and we'll need to add some more parameters here later. But first of all, let's get back to the header.css. Okay, so here we need to add a after pseudo element for this breaking title class. It's at the top. Left 0 border. It's going to be solid transparent. The content will be empty. Position will be absolute. Border, top, color, and border width 8 pixel. Okay, if we save it, okay, now it's there. Basically, you can control this with the border width rule. Let's add some style to the breaking title. So top bar breaking title H6, text transform uppercase, color white, and font size 12 pixel. We are getting there. So let's add some styles to these news items. We'll give it a width of 1110 pixel. Okay, let's add hover. Let's go back to the JavaScript file and let's add some parameters to this carousel. The way we can do that, we just need to come here, curly braces, And here we can add a number of different parameters. For example, I don't want this to scroll automatically, so we just say autoplay false, comma. I also want to show one news item at any given time, so item 1. We can also say loop and set this to true. If it's false, it stops at the last slide, but we don't want that. We want this to go in a loop. Okay, so the next one, if we go here, we already have our own navigation, so we don't need these little dots here. So let's say nav false dot false. We can also say mouse drag false, and we can set the slide speed to 500 milliseconds. Okay, this should be it. You can find a lot of other parameters in the documentation. So let's just save this, and so we only have our own navigation here, and now it's scrolling. So now let's add some styles to the carousel itself. We set this to position absolute. So that's basically the navigation, because we want this navigation to be here, in line the news item. Let's add right 0, top 0, and margin 0. Okay, let's copy this one, and let's say div, and actually let's just save it and let's see what we have. So now it's here. We need to change the color. So this is how we can target these navigations. So let's add background. We can use our variable border 0 and color white. Okay, let's save it. Let's just save this one again. We won't need the breaking class from here, and here we need margin pixel width 20 pixel, height 20 pixel, line height 20 pixel, padding 0, border radius 0, text align center, font size 12 pixel, and the transition should be 400 millisecond. Okay, so let's save it, and if we refresh, okay, something is going on here, because here we should only see one item. Let's go back here and let's check the code. Here everything seems to be okay. Here I just added support for Google Chrome, but it's still the same. Let's check the JavaScript. Oh, this should be items, not item. And if we refresh, yes, now it's all right. Now it's working. And so now it only shows one news item. And if I click here, I see the next one, then the next one, and the next one, and the last one. And because we set the loop to true, we can start over. Now let's add the social media icons here. So let's go back to index.html, and here we just need to add a few more classes. Top bar, social, text, MD, right, and text, LG, right. So these are just Bootstrap classes. So here we'll just add a unordered list. And it will only contain font awesome icons. Okay, let's duplicate this 3 times, and let's just change this to Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. Okay, and if you go back here, that's there. So now let's add some styles so it wouldn't break our top bar. Let's go to header. Let's just add a comment. Okay, so let's add top bar social. Let's target the unordered list. First of all, we won't need list style. Padding 0 and margin also 0. We save it. Let's go back. Okay, so we need this in 1 line. Set this to inline block and padding to 0. Let's style the links. And let's add the margin right, 10 pixel. Let's save it. Refresh. Now let's add one more. Let's save it, and if we refresh, now we have the icons. Maybe we can add a little bit more padding top here, maybe 5 pixel. Let's see how it looks. Maybe a little bit, maybe 3 pixels. Now it's better. So next we'll need the middle part of the header. Okay, so if we look at the finished version of our site, we can see that the next section will be this middle part of the header, where we have the logo and this advertising banner. So let's add this. Go back here, and here just let's add a comment. So we can know that this is where the top bar ends. And underneath this div, we need to add a div container for this next section. let's call this header content. Let's add a Bootstrap container and a row. And then we'll need 2 columns. And the next one will be an 8 column section. Okay, so here we also add a class for logo. And here basically we'll just have an image. And here we'll just have the advertising banner. Okay, and basically this is the structure of this section. Let's just add the comment here. Let's save it. And if you go back here, we have the logo and the banner. So let's just style it. Go back to header.css and the comment. So here we just need to add some padding. And let's just add some styles to the logo. Let's save this, and if we refresh, okay, something is up here. Yeah, this should be padding, not padding top. Let's save it, and now it's okay. Now we need to add the navigation. Okay, let's go back to index.html, and underneath this section let's add a new div. And let's call this main navigation. And let's go over to the Bootstrap website, go to documentation, components, navbar, and here let's just copy this code snippet and let's paste it here. Okay, we need to do some modifications. Okay, we change this navbar dark and bg dark. Okay, let's just save it and let's take a look at how it looks right now. Okay, we all need to do a few more things here. Let's go back. Underneath this nav element, we need to add a div. Okay, let's cut this closing div and add this before the closing nav tag. Okay, and if you save it, the content should align in the middle. And there it is. We don't need this one because we already have a logo. Button class, okay. Pricing, okay, we can just remove this disabled, and we can also change this to a div. We don't need the unordered list here, less code is the better, and we can just remove the allies. Okay, so let's just clean this up a bit. Okay, now it looks much better, and here just add the comment Okay, and now we just need to add some styles to the links. Oh, and one more thing, we need to add a nav item class here, and maybe we can add an active class to the first item, and let's just copy this one and just place them here. Now we just need to add some styles. Go back to header.css, add the comment, navigation. Okay, let's save it and let's just look at how it looks. So let's say bar nav. Let's make it uppercase and the font size 14 pixel, and also change the color. And just make it white. Let's also add hover state. And here we can just use our variable. Let's save it. Okay, the hover is not working. I think we could just add the important row here. Let's save it. Okay, now it's white because we added it to the nav item, nav link classes as well. And if we hover over, now we have our main accent color here. Okay, in the original site we have a little bit more space here. So maybe we can add here some margin top to the main navigation. Maybe 15 pixel will be enough. Let's save it, and yeah, now we have our entire header ready and everything's working. And now I want to create this hero section where we have some movies listed in columns. So let's do this. Okay, let's go back to our editor. We can close down these twos for now. And let's go back to index.html. And under the header element, create a section. And we'll add the class hero. And inside the section we need a container. And inside the container we need a row. Okay, here we add a few more classes. We add this flex class to distribute the elements evenly in this row. We also need some margin top. For now, it's enough. We'll add more if we need some. Okay, and in here we'll need 3 columns. Let's copy this. The middle column will be MD6 and the right column is 3 again. So this is how we have 12 columns in the row. Here we add the class left post, middle post, and we don't need to add any extra class here because basically the same rules will apply to this column like here. Okay, so let's create the structure for the first post. So it's just going to be another div. And it's basically just going to contain an image and two texts. Let's create a div for the category. And let's add the post title. If look at this, we have another post underneath. So we'll just copy this and just add it here. And just add another class. And just change the class for the featured image. Let's just call this animation and change the title. Let's save it. Okay, obviously we are going to need to do some styling here. But first let's finish the HTML. Okay, so let's do the middle post. So basically we just have to copy this whole thing, paste it in here, and just change some of the classes. I think that was science fiction. This one should be 5. This is again science fiction, and this one was let's copy this again and just paste it to the last column. Okay, here we can add a comment. Let's save it. So now we have to create a CSS file. So let's go to partials, new file, and just call this hero.css. And of course, before we do anything else, we have to go to styles and import this new CSS. Let's save it. And now we are ready to work in this CSS file. Okay, so first of all, and let's do the first post. First we need to add the image. We need to go out of the CSS folder, so okay, let's save it. Okay, so the image is showing up. Let's go back and we need to add some more things here. Background, repeat, no repeat, background size, color, background, position, center. Let's set minimum height to 66 pixel, and position relative. Let's save it. Let's style the category. Color is white. The background color will be a transparent black, so we'll use RGBA. Let's make it uppercase. Font size 13 pixel. Padding will be 3 pixel, 10 pixel. So the top, bottom 3 pixel, right, left 10 pixel. Position absolute, top 10 pixel, left 10 pixel. Okay, let's save this, and if we refresh, we have our category stuck in the top left corner. So let's go back and continue. Let's add a white color for the post title. Position absolute, bottom 15 pixel, padding left 10 pixel, okay, let's save this, refresh. Let's add the hover state for this image. If you go here, you can see that it's got a gradient hover, and the gradient kind of comes from the bottom and fades away towards the top. So let's do this. To add a gradient, we need to use background image. Okay, and we need to add the image itself. Okay, let's save this, and if we refresh and hover over, we have the hover effect. Okay, so basically this is the top part of the gradient, and this is the bottom. So the bottom starts with a 0.9 transparency, and towards the top it ends by being almost completely transparent. We need to do the second image, so basically we just have to copy everything from here, paste it here. Let's change it to 2, this one also to no repeat color, center. Okay, we also need to add the hover, so I'll just copy this one. Let's change this to 2 and this to 2, and if we save it, now we have this. So we need to do the same again. Change this to 3, 3, 3 and 3. And if we refresh, now we have the third post as well. We have these spaces here. We can use a simple Bootstrap class here. So if we just go back to index.html, and here we add the no gutters class and save this and refresh. Now everything just popped into place. So we have the first row, kind of. We need to add the style for the other posts below this first row. Well, we can't really talk about first and second row because this whole thing is just one row, and there are two posts in each columns. So let's start the bottom posts. Okay, let's go back to hero.css, and if you look at this, we can see that there is a thin white row that separates each post. So let's add this first. And also for the middle post. We add a border right, 1 pixel solid and white. And for the bottom post, we'll add the border top with the same value. Now we can just copy this part again and just change the numbers. And again for the fifth. And the same for the sixth. Let's save it. And basically we are ready. So next we are going to create these main content blocks, the latest reviews, the latest trailers, and this Blu-ray section. So let's do that. Let's open our code editor. We don't need this hero.css anymore. Let's go back to index.html. Let's go here, and underneath this section we create a new section, and we'll add a class main content, and we also add margin top. Here we create a Bootstrap container, and we also need a row. Let's add a comment. Here comes the main content. Okay, we need two columns in this row. Also, let's add a medium column, call MD12. Let's copy this comment and just let's paste it here and main content. Okay, so this will hold all our content inside this column. Okay, because the next column will be used for the sidebar. let's just add a few more comments, because we're going to have a lot of content here, so we should be able to know where things end. So this is the main row. Let's say end main row. And let's add here end container. So inside here, first we add the HTML for the latest reviews. First we need to add a title. Okay, so we use a span tag here, so we can better target this this text. Let's just separate this a little, and underneath here we add a new row. Here we also need a margin top, and we'll need 2 columns here. Okay, so just let's copy this and let's paste it one more time. And inside here we'll need a new div. So we are designing this part now. So first we need an image, then we need a title, then we need a section for this metadata, and then another section for the post excerpt. Okay, so first inside the post block we add a new div for the image. We need the image from the reviews folder, and we need the first one. Okay, we also add a class. Then we need the title, which is going to be an h4 tag. Then we need a new div for the meta info. Which first going to hold the date. So we need a new div. And underneath this we need the star rating, so we create a new div, and here we are just going to use the font awesome icons. And we add one more class because we need the smaller stars. And we are just going to duplicate this a few times. And we change the last one. So it's not a full star. So if we just save it and refresh, now we have the image, we have the main section or block title, we have the movie title, we have the metadata, and we have the star rating. One more thing we need to add here is basically under the meta info we just need to add a paragraph with some lorem ipsum text. We don't need so much. Okay, maybe this much is enough. We have the post block. So all we need to do is just duplicate this. So we have one more underneath this movie. Basically, we just have to copy the post block content and just paste it here. Of course, here we need to add some margin top, and we need to change the image. We need to change the title. And we can leave the rest. So if we just save this and refresh, we have the second movie here. Okay, so we need to add the next column. So basically we just need to copy the two post block and just paste it in the next column. We just need to change the image, the title, okay, let's save this and refresh, and we have our content now. We just need to style this. So let's go back. Let's create a new file in the partials folder. Let's name it reviews.css. Of course, we need to include this in our main style. Let's save this, and first let's style this review, because if we look at here, this is how it looks. So block title, it's got a border bottom, 2 pixel, solid. The font color is white. The font size is 15 pixel. Let's make it uppercase. And it's got a padding bottom 3 pixel. So let's save this. Okay, something is I made a typo here. Okay, now it's working. Okay, don't worry, the text didn't disappear. It's just we just changed the color to white, but we are going to take care of this right now. Let's go back to the CSS file. Title. Okay, so that's why we added this title inside the span tag. So the background, we can use our variable here. That's a padding 4 pixel and 6 pixel. Okay, let's save this. Okay, and it's much better. So let's go on styling the post blocks. font size 20 pixel and font weight 700. I want the author name, date, and the star rating to be on the same line. So let's do that. So we just float them to the right, and we add them a color of, okay, and just add a smaller font size. Okay, let's check it out. Okay, let's add a bit more style to this. Okay, now it's much better. And finally, we need to add some style to the excerpt. Okay, so we just added some style to the excerpt, but I also want a line above and below the meta info, so this line. So let's add that. We need the border top 1 pixel solid, and we need the border bottom, and we need some padding. Let's save it, and now we have our first block ready. Now we need to do the next one, which is this latest trailers. This is going to be a little bit different because when we click on one of the images, it will show us a pop-up video. So if we look at the finished project, we have the latest trailers listed. They are basically very similar to this block, only that it brings up a pop-up when you click on the image. Okay, so let's do that. Basically, let's just add this comment here. And let's just copy this whole. Actually, it's easier if we just close this, and let's just copy this whole thing here, and let's add it underneath the reviews. So obviously this is going to be and trailers. And if we go here, trailers, we change this to latest trailers. We can add some margin top here. And let's just remove a few things from here. Okay, so we have the same column structure. We have a post block. Let's just change this to trailer image. We also need a title. But we don't need this meta info, and we also don't need the paragraph. The image will be from the trailers folder, but here we need to include this image inside an href tag. Let's just cut this closing tag and add it here. And basically here the link will be the actual YouTube URL to the video, which is this one. I will leave a link to the videos in the description, so you don't have to copy this link manually. And basically that's it. So we just need to copy the content from the post block div and just paste it here. Let's change the title and do the same for the other column. I believe that was Blade Runner. And this one too. Okay, let's change the Okay, let's save this and refresh the page. And now we have the trailers, but I forgot to change the images. But if I click on them, it won't pop up, it just opens the YouTube page. So in order to use this pop-up lightbox, we are going to use a jQuery plugin. I will leave a link in the description to this plugin where you can download it. So if you go to the quick installation section, here you can download the plugin, and it explains how to use it. So basically we just need to download first, then we have to reference the jQuery JavaScript, but we already have that. But you also need this lightbox JavaScript file, so just let's open it. And we need this JavaScript file, so let's just copy it and just let's add in our JS folder. Let's go back to our index.html, and at the end we need to add this script. Okay, let's save it. Let's go back, and so we added the HTML5 lightbox.javascript file, and to use it, it says we need to add a class wherever we want to activate this lightbox effect. So let's just copy this class. And basically we just have to add it to the href tag like this. Okay, and if we save it and refresh, now we have the lightbox. Okay, so basically we just need to add a few more styles here. So let's create a new file here. We don't need the review anymore, and just import it. So basically first I want to add some darker overlay to the image, and then I want to add this play icon. So we are just going to say target the trailer image and add the position relative, and we are just going to use two pseudo elements, one before for the overlay and the after for the play icon. So we set the content empty, the position absolute, the background we use RGBA, let's just save it. Where I have, okay, width 100%, height 100%, top 0, it's none. Okay, so we have our darker overlay. Now let's add the play icon. Let's add the font family. Okay, we need to add this because we are going to use a font awesome icon. We set the content to F144. This is the code for the font awesome icon. We set position absolute. We want the icon to be white. First let's add the font size 65 pixel. Top, let's add 30%. Right, 40%. Let's save it. And now it appears. But if I can't click on the icon, it's not clickable. We need to add this pointer events here too. And if I refresh, now I can click on the icon as well. Okay, so we need to add this pointer events property, otherwise the pseudo elements wouldn't allow the image to be clickable. Okay, so we now are done with this section too. So if I just click here, the other video pops up, and the other one. Okay, so it's a really cool lightbox effect. Okay, so next we are going to add this small Blu-ray section. Basically, it's very simple. We just need to do some little trick with the hover effect. So let's create this section now. We won't need the trailer.css anymore. Let's go back to index.html, and from here let's just copy this part. Okay, and after the trailers, let's just paste it in here. First we need to add the column div, then we need to add the row div, and we need to add also the block container div. And it's going to be DVDs, and let's just add a comment here and DVDs. Okay, and this title will be by Blu-ray, and here we also need a margin bottom, and we need 3 columns. First, let's add a div here. First we add the image for the DVD, then we add the new div for the hover content. Okay, so we add a new div for the title, and we need another div for the add to cart button. We need to add a font awesome icon here. And the text add to cart. Okay, and basically this is all we need here. So we are just gonna need to copy this column and paste it twice. So let's save this and refresh the page, and now we have the videos. We just need to change the images. So now we need to do the styling. Let's create a new file here, dvd.css. Let's go to styles. Okay, first let's add the cover container, the position relative. Okay, we also need to add one more class here. Let's save this and let's go back and set the opacity to 1, display block with 100 percent, height auto, and transition 0.5 sec, and let's add ease. And you also need the backface visibility set to hidden. Let's save it. Let's target the hover content, transition 1 sec, ease, opacity 0, position absolute, top 50%, left 50%, transform, translate minus 50%, minus 50%, text align center, and with 80%. Okay, let's save this. Okay, now we need to make sure that when we hover over the images, this hidden content will be displayed. Okay, so we lower the opacity to 0.3. This opacity to 1. Okay, now it appears. Okay, we need to add some styles, so this content would look a bit better. Okay, let's save it and let's take a look at it. Okay, now it looks much better. We just need to change the color here. Okay, and now it looks much better. So basically we are ready with the main content. Now we'll do the sidebar. So let's get back to the editor, and in assets CSS partials we will need a new file. Let's call it sidebar.css, and we'll need to import this in styles.css. Okay, so if we look at the final version, the first widget or first block in the sidebar, this latest news. Okay, so let's do that. Let's go to index.html, and this is where we left off last time. So here we'll need to add the other column. So we are still in the main row, and also let's add a call md 12. Okay, so inside this, let's add a sidebar div. And inside this, let's add a div with a widget class. So this widget class will hold the information of each widget. Okay, first let's add an h3 with a widget title class. Let's call this latest news. Okay, underneath this, let's add another div with widget content, and this will hold these part. Well, these basically are going to be inside an unordered list. So let's add that. And let's add the first item. Inside this list, let's add a div called latest news item, and also add the clear fix. First, let's add the thumbnail. And inside this href, let's add an image. And also add the class okay, so we have the thumbnail. If we save it and refresh it, now we have it here. Obviously we will need to style the widget header and everything here, but let's add the markup first. Okay, so after the thumbnail div, we'll add a new div called news item container. Here we'll have an h2 with the class of news title. Let's add Star Trek, it really doesn't matter. And after this h2, we'll add the date. Let's call this news meta. Okay, let's save it. Okay, everything seems alright. Okay, so we need to head over to the CSS and start adding some styles to this. So first widget, we add a margin bottom 35 pixel. Then we have a widget title. We add the background color. We add the text color. Font size 16 pixel. Padding 8 pixel and 10 pixel, and text transform uppercase. Okay, so we have the header. Now let's do this part. We add the margin top 15 pixel. First we get rid of the dot here, the list style. We float the item thumbnail. Okay, let's check. How is it so far? Okay, so now we have the text next to the image. Okay, but this title is too big, so let's set the font size of 15 pixel. And finally the news date. Let's set the font size of 13 pixel, font style italic, and color, and if we save it, okay, maybe we can make the title a little bit bigger and bolder, maybe 16 pixel. Oh, maybe we need to add this here. Okay, and maybe for this color we can add some slight transparency, like this. Yeah, that's much better. Okay, so all we need to do is go back to index.html and just copy this li and paste it 3 times. And just change the image. Okay, and if you want, you can change the title. It really doesn't matter. So basically there are many ways to do this. This is just one way to do that using this unordered list. So maybe the easiest way is to use one of the Bootstrap components. So go to Bootstrap, and I think it's here in Components, and yes, under the Media object. So as you can see, this example is basically the same as we have here. Okay, so we have an image and we have 2 types of text here. So basically you would just need to copy this code, and you basically just need to style the image and the text. Okay, I just wanted to show you a different way to do that. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. We have this social part. Okay, so as I said, this widget div holds each widget content. So basically, we just need to grab these parts. Let me just close this one, and let's add it here. But first, let's add a comment, and okay, so we need to close this div, and we need to close this one. Okay, and this is going to be socialize, and this widget content is going to have a table. Okay, let's just add a style here. Let's add the Facebook icon. Okay, and underneath we add the likes. Okay, let's save it. Okay, so we have the first part. So basically we have 2 rows, and each row has 4 table data. Okay, we just need to copy this and paste it 3 times. Okay, the background color here will be okay, and this one is going to be Twitter. Let's change this to followers. This one is going to be, and this one is going to be LinkedIn, and this one is going to be, and this is going to be Instagram. Oh, and let's change this to contacts and followers. Okay, and we can add another table row. So just copy this one, paste it, and basically you can just change the color, and you can change the font awesome icon. Okay, so you can add YouTube, Pinterest, GitHub, anything you want. So if I save this and refresh, now we have this, but we don't have the icons show up. Okay, and that's because I made a typo here. Okay, so let's style this. Go to sidebar. Let's just add a comment and let's target the table data. Let's add a width 20%. Text align center. Color white. Padding top 15 pixel and padding bottom 10 pixel. Okay, let's see what we have so far. Okay, so we need to make sure that this table data fills in the whole width of the widget. Okay, we can add a 100% width to the table because by default the table has some padding. So if we just do widget content table and add a width of 100% and save it. Now it's 100% wide. Okay. Let's add some padding to the icon as well. Okay. And now they look okay. But something isn't right with this LinkedIn icon. I probably made some mistake there too. Oh, it's linked in. Good. Okay, and we are finished with this widget too. Let's go to the next one, which is this advertisement widget. This is very simple. It's just an image edit here. So let's just grab this one. Okay, we can close this. Okay, let's just change it to add widget. We won't need a title here. We will need to close the widget content div and the widget. And inside here we add a new div. An image. And basically that's it for the markup. And we'll just add a comment here. And we'll just make sure that this image is always center aligned. And that's it. Okay, next one, these tags. Let's do them. Let's copy. So let's copy this one here. Let's close them, and below the add widget, let's paste them here, and this is going to be the tag widget. Let's change this to popular tags, and let's just close this div and also the main widget div. Okay, so inside the widget content, let's create a new div. This div will hold the tags. They are simply going to be list items. Okay, so let's say maybe movies, and let's just copy it a few times. Okay, maybe this is a TV show. Okay, that's it. And we need, let's check it. Okay, so all we need to do now is just to style it. Go to sidebar.css. Let's add a comment so we know where we are. Okay, so let's target the unordered list. We don't need a list style. We need to get rid of the left padding. And we need to add a line height of 40 pixels. Now we need to make sure that these are listed side by side, not underneath each other. So we need to target the list items inside the unordered list, and we need to display them in line. Let's add the background color. Let's add the border. 1 pixel solid. The color. Okay, let's save it, and now it looks much better. Okay, we can add a hover effect. So we just need to copy and paste this. And set the background color to one of our variable. Set the text color to white. You can set the cursor to pointer, and maybe you can add some transition. Maybe a 0.8 second. Okay, and now we have this hover effect. If you want this to be clickable, you just need to wrap the text inside an href tag. And we have one more widget, which is this category widget. So let's do that. So back here in index.html, we just need to copy the usual things. Let's close this and let's add it underneath. Let's just close this div and the main widget. Okay, this is going to be similar to the tag widget. So inside widget content, let's add another div. And inside here, unordered list. Okay, so we put this number inside span text because we are going to need to align this to the right. Okay, let's copy this a few times. Okay, so that's it for the markup. Let's go to the sidebar.css. Let's add a comment. Let's just copy this list style none from here, paste it here. We are going to need this. Okay, so we need to add this line to the bottom, border bottom, 1 pixel solid, margin left minus 30 pixel, padding bottom 8 pixel, padding top 8 pixel, and font weight, let's give 400. Okay, here we have an icon, and also we will need to move this number to the right. Okay, so to add the icon next to the category name, we can use the before pseudo element. So first we need content. We need this backslash, and we need to add font awesome icon, and here we need to add the code of the icon, and it's F105. We need to add the font family, which is font awesome. Okay, we need to display this inline block, and we will need padding right here 10 pixel. Okay, and if we save it, something is not right here. Okay, for some reason this icon won't show up. Okay, let's take care of this number first, and then we'll get back to this icon thingy. Okay, let's just copy this part and target the span item. We need a background color. We can use the main accent variable. We need to float this to the right. The text color will be white. Font size 12 pixel, and padding will be 5 pixel and 10 pixel. Okay, let's save it, and okay, it's moved to the right. Now let's see what the hell is going on with this icon. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on, so I'll just stop the video and I'll investigate this, what's wrong with here. Okay, I'm back. I found the answer. So basically I have made two mistakes here. So we are using the free version of Font Awesome 5 icons, and the first issue is that I gave an incorrect value for the font family. This should be Font Awesome 5 free, and I also need to add font weight here. Okay, and if I save it and refresh, now we have the icon here. Okay, so basically the problem is here is that if we don't use a font weight here, then it will use the regular version of the icon, which is only available in the Pro version of the Font Awesome icon pack. So we need to add a font weight. Okay, that's it. We have our nice sidebar, and we are going to continue with this bottom part here with the subscription and the footer. Okay, so let's add the subscription part. Let's just close this widget, and after this section we'll create a new section. And we add some margin top. Let's add the Bootstrap container. Let's add a row. Okay, so we'll use two columns here. Let's add the other one, and inside this column let's add some additional classes. Okay, here we need a Font Awesome icon. I'm looking for this paper plane thingy. Let's copy it and just paste it here and just make it bigger. Okay, underneath this div we add another class. So let's save this, and yeah, obviously we are not seeing anything because everything is white here, but it's here. So let's go back. Okay, here we need to add a form. Okay, for the form we just need to go to Bootstrap, documentation, components, input group, and from the button add-ons we will need this one. So I'll just copy the second code snippet and just paste it here. Okay, we won't need this here. We add another class, subscription form. Okay, input type text, class form control. Let's make this input field bigger. Okay, so these are just standard Bootstrap classes. Let's change the placeholder. Okay, let's change this. Okay, here for the button we add our own class. And we'll change this to subscribe. Okay, if we refresh, okay, now we have this. Okay, we won't need this sidebar.css, but we will need to create a new partials, and let's call this subscribe.css. Okay, and don't forget to include this in our main style.css file. Okay, and here let's start styling it. So for the section background color, we'll use our main accent variable. We'll add some padding to the top and bottom. Let's target the icon. Okay, let's save it. Now we can see everything here. Okay, so we have the icon and we have the text here, and they are aligned nicely because we use these flexbox classes here. Okay, let's go back to the CSS. Okay, so now we are styling this heading text here. Okay, and the paragraph, for this we just add the font style italic. Let's save it. Okay, now it looks much better. Okay, now let's do the form. Okay, so let's just add a comment here. Okay, so I don't want a rounded corner here, so okay. Okay, so now I want to style this button. Okay. Okay, so now we added some space around the button. Okay, here we add a background color. The text color will be white, and I don't need any border. Okay, so I don't like this placeholder, so the placeholder is a pseudo element, so that's why we have to use it here. Font size 15 pixel, and the font style is italic. Okay. Okay, now we have the footer part left. Let's do that. Okay, so now we need to do the footer part. We won't need this subscribe.css anymore, but we'll need to create a new CSS file here called footer.css, and of course we need to include this in the main CSS file. We can even close this, and let's go back to the index.html. Okay, we won't need this subscription, so we can close it. And after the subscription section, we create a footer with the class of footer. Okay, we add a main div called widget container. Okay, so this will hold all our widgets in the footer. Okay, here we add a Bootstrap container and a row. We add some margin top to the row, and here we are going to have 3 columns. So okay, so let's do the first one. So in the first one we only have our logo and some text. Let's add an additional class here. So here we add an image, and we need the footer logo. Also we add the image fluid class, and underneath this we need a paragraph with some lorem ipsum text. Okay, let's save it and let's refresh. Okay, it's here. Let's add some styling before we add the rest of the widgets. Okay, so here we have a background image, and we have some gradient color placed on top of it. What we need to do is we need to target the main footer section, and we need to add the background image, and it's going to be a linear gradient. And here we add 2 right comma RGBA 51 Okay, and we add the other color. And the opacity will be 0.85. Okay, so now we need to add the image. For the image, we need to go outside this folder and from the CSS folder. So we need to add dot dot slash dot dot slash, and now we can go to the image folder, footer, and the footer background. Okay, well, this is a little bit long, but it is. We need to add some other background image options. So the background size is cover, background repeat. We don't want to repeat the background, and the background position is center bottom. Okay, we need to add a padding top 25 pixel and a padding bottom 0 pixel. Okay, and if we save this, we should have this nice background image. Okay, let's add some more styling. Okay, we need to target the text in that in the about widget. Padding top 20 pixel and color white. Okay, let's save it. Refresh. Okay, so let's create the markup for the rest of the widgets, and then we'll come back and style them. If you go back to index.html, so basically we are done with the first column. Now we need to go to the second column. Let's add some comment here. Okay, so here let's add a new div. Here we add an h3, and we add an hr underneath, and inside here we add a new div. Okay, so here we add these two here. Okay, so it's basically similar what we did in the first sidebar widget. Okay, let's add a new div here. Latest news item. Okay, so inside here we have the thumbnail. Under the thumbnail we need to display the title and the date. So let's create a new div here called news item container. Okay, it's gonna have an h2 with the class of footer news title. Let's call this Star Trek. h2 will have a new div, footer news meta, and here we have a span with the class footer news date. Okay, and all we need to do is just copy this li and paste it one more time. Okay, so most part is in place because we are using styles that we already added here. Okay, so let's just quickly fix these headings and text here. Okay, so let's go back to footer.css and let's just add a comment here. Second widget, footer widget, content h3, color will be white, text transform uppercase, font size 20 pixel, and padding top 20 pixel. Okay, let's save it, refresh. Okay, I want to add a different color for this jar. So okay, I want to add a border with 1 pixel solid. Okay, let's just check it. Okay, I don't want this full width, so let's set the width to 25% and margin left 0. Okay. Let's just change the font size of the footer title. The color should be white, and we don't need text decoration. Okay, and also we have footer date. We need a smaller font size here. And the color will be the same, white. Okay, so here we use a float to align the image, so we need to add a clear fix. Okay, and we need to fix this title. Let's go to footer, footer news title. Okay, let's change this here and refresh. Okay, we should make it a little bit bigger, maybe 18 pixel, and font weight 600. Okay, so now it's ready. Okay, so now we need to add this this carousel. So first, let's add the title. Let's just copy this from here, and we can close these other columns. Let's change this to latest tweets, and let's close this div. Okay, so if we refresh, we have this widget title here. So for the carousel, we are going to use a Bootstrap code snippet. So go to Bootstrap, documentation, components, carousel, and search for the with captions part. And here just copy the whole thing. And underneath HR, just paste it. Okay, so if we refresh, probably everything's gonna fall apart. Not everything, but we don't have anything here. Okay, so first of all, let's see what we have here. Okay, class carousel slide. We need to add some margin top here. Okay, we don't need these ordered lists. We can remove it. Okay, carousel inner item. Okay, for the image, we can just select one of our images. Footer. Okay, so here we just add a transparent background. Otherwise, we're gonna have the background of the default carousel, and we don't want that. Okay, so instead of these classes, we add our own. Okay, we won't need these classes here. Okay, so we need to work inside these carousel item. So this is one item. This is the second one. This is the third one. Okay, so here we add. Okay, so if you look at here, we have an image, we have a title, and we have some text. Okay, so first we need to add the image. And we also need a class. Here, let's change this, and we also need a span here. Okay, so I'm just making this up. You can write anything you want here. Okay, and we have the text. Maybe we can add an href. Okay, so basically we need to copy everything from here until here and copy and paste it into the next carousel item. Like this. And here like this. Okay, maybe we can change the name. just so we can see the changes. Okay, we have the control. Okay, we need those, and maybe we are okay. Okay, so I haven't changed the images. The image is the same in all slides, but as you can see, the name will change, so we can see that it's working. Okay, let's do some styling. Let's go back to footer. Okay, so let's style the image. Okay, so we need to align it to the center. We have to give the same width and height. And we need to add a 50% border radius, so it's gonna be a circle. Let's save it. Okay. Okay, so I just add a negative margin to the top because it's there's too much space here. Okay. Okay, so I'm just basically just styling the text and adding some padding and margin. Okay, so maybe it was too small. Maybe 16 pixel. Maybe 18, and maybe we can add some font weight. Okay. And let's just copy this one, paste it here, and let's see how it looks. Okay, it's much better. So we have a nice carousel. Okay, the last thing we have is the copyright section. So let's do that quickly and we'll be ready. Okay, so we had all the widgets inside the widget container, and outside the widget container we need to add the copyright section. Okay, so here we add container. We add a row, and we'll add 2 columns. The first column will have a paragraph. In the second column we'll display some payment method icons. So here basically I just need a new div. And here I'll need an unordered list item image, and here I need the visa. Okay, and I'll need this a few more times. And it's gonna be American Express, MasterCard, okay, so let's save it. And okay, so obviously we need to go to styles, add okay, first let's take care of the copyright section, the background color, the text color will be CC. Okay, we need a padding top 20 pixel and a font size 13 pixel. Okay, we also need to take care of the payment methods. Okay, let's see. Okay, I want to align this to the right. So basically I can just go here and use Bootstrap's Flexbox classes. And that's it. We are done with this template. Okay, if we look at the page in different sizes, obviously there will be some issues. So, but most of them look okay on smaller sizes as well. But let's address some problems. We won't need this footer.css, however we need to create a new one. Let's call this responsive.css. Okay, and in the style we need to include it. Save it, and we won't need this anymore. Okay, so basically on smaller devices I don't want to display this top bar. I think that would be too much. So if we go back to the top, we call this top bar. So let's go here and see media, max width. Okay, and let's say top bar, display none. Okay, let's save this, refresh, and if we resize, when we hit the 768 breakpoint, this top bar should disappear. So let's go, and it disappears. Of course, this header content doesn't look okay. Let's just check the okay, so here we can add the responsive image class img fluid to the logo and also to the banner. We'll still need to adjust it, but now it's much better. Okay, let's go back to here and okay, so this should center align it. Okay, now it looks much better. Okay, you can just remove this banner if you want. You just need to set it to display none. Okay, the image should be full width here. So let's add another media query. Okay, so that took care of it. Same here. Let's just copy this whole thing. Post block. This is going to be trailer image img. Let's save it. Okay. Okay, let's add a few more things here. So let's save it. Okay, so this is for the copyright section. It looks a bit okay. It's better to center align everything in the copyright section. So one more thing. Okay, and this should take care of it. And now we have a nice responsive website. Okay, that's it, guys. We finished this template. If you have any questions, just post it in the comment area and let me know. Thanks for watching this series and coding along with me. If you like this, please give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for new videos. Thanks again, bye.